Hey everybody, Saribro here and welcome back to the channel. Today I will be continuing my endgame tips that should help some of you either just starting endgame or maybe having some difficulty with the endgame bosses or divine beasts. If you find these helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. Now let's get started. Alright, so tip number one is going to be buffs are your best friend. Many of you have probably made it this far in the game without really understanding your buffs or which buffs are important, how to stack them, and much more. So I will start by giving you some tips and showing some examples as well that will help. First, let's talk about the combat skill Body of Sage. This can be found in your SP buffer skill tree as the first combat skill available. Body of the Sage is very important for letting you apply buffs to your allies and party, meaning you can use your partner to buff Kirito before a tough battle. It is important to note that you should probably equip this as your first combat skill, so that way you apply it first and then start applying the other buffs, which will also be applied to Kirito as shown in the video. From here, switch back to your main character and then use your combat skill buffs on yourself to stack your buffs, thus increasing your stats even more. At the end of the game, depending on your equipment, you can easily reach attack 700 or 800 plus, which then allows you to do more damage to higher level enemies such as Divine Beast and raid bosses. Now for buffs that I am currently using on each character, for Alice, who is my partner, I have the following. Body of Sage, which does allow me to apply the buffs to Kirito. Lion Sprint, a 20% attack increase. Howling of the Soldier, a 20% attack increase as well. Warrior Bloodline, which converts 30% of my defense to attack. Now of course, if your defense isn't that great, or maybe you're not even using a bow and you're really worried about getting one shot by one of these raid bosses, replace Warrior Bloodline with something that either increases your skill power itself, your chain burst damage, or just gives you another attack boost. For Kirito, I have the following. Lion Sprint, another 20% increase to attack. Thorn of the Protector, a 15% increase to my skill power. Fire Spark, which allows me to do a solo chain burst. And then Galvanize, which fills my finishing arts gauge. Number two is going to be opening with chain bursts and then finishing arts. So this is going to be piggybacking off of the buffs a little bit. But when fighting difficult enemies such as Divine Beasts and raid bosses, it is critical to stack your buffs right before the fight and then use those few seconds you have to use your chain bursts and finishing arts. With the buffs applied, you should be able to get anywhere from 1 to 3 chain bursts in, followed by a finishing arts before your buffs run out. This is very important for taking quite a chunk of the enemy's health away, making the fight a bit quicker and more manageable. As shown in the video, I will start with applying Steel Body from the Steel Sacred Arts level 2, which gives me a huge attack buff. Then immediately apply the buffs from my partner, then switch and apply them to myself, thus giving me an insane stat boost prior to the fight. Once you enter, immediately start on your chain bursts by leveraging your partner and the Fire Spark ability to do solo chain bursts. This is then followed up with a finishing arts before my buffs run out, and from here I am simply fighting the boss like normal. Now once you are pretty well geared, you will find yourself easily soloing the raid bosses with this method. Believe it or not, I have seen people defeat a raid boss in seconds with one chain burst alone, so this is definitely a good method to start with and play around with. Tip number 3 is going to be recommended passive skills for starting. Now I know there are going to definitely be some data scientists watching this video throwing all sorts of crazy math and trigonometry and stuff at me, but just be aware that these are my personal recommendations for anyone that really doesn't know what to use for their builds, as it applies to different types of builds pretty well until you start to get into the really customized ones. So this is going to be a good starter for passive skills. Now of course, these can be changed or custom to your liking. Maybe you're testing these out and you find one or the other works best for you. Again, these are my recommendations just for starting. First is Shadow Warrior, which gives you an attack bonus of 20% while dropping defense by 20%. Followed by this is Meditation, which can be found in the Scout skill tree. This will increase your skill power by 20%, but causes a 10% delay as well. The important thing to note here is that as you increase your skill power, it also increases your base damage. You can actually see this in a video here. Once I disable Meditation, you'll see my stats right here, and then as I equip Meditation, you'll definitely see the difference in raw damage as well. Next is going to be Killing Blow, also found in the Scout skill tree, which increases your crit power by 30%, which is a huge jump for when you crit and very important for crit damage when you're chain bursting. Last is Abyssal Reflection, which converts 15% of defense into attack, which can be very important when you obtain a decent armor piece. Now if your armor is not that geared, you could always swap this out for a different passive. The passive I probably recommend is Two Contenders, which is located in the single-handed sword skill tree. This will increase your sword skill power by 15% and your sacred power as well. Alright everybody, those are some important tips for endgame starters, or maybe some that are looking to increase your damage output and make raid bosses and divine beasts a little easier. If you guys like these tips, leave a like and subscribe, and I will definitely put a few more important ones out there. Just a note, but thank you to everybody and all of these 6,000 subscribers, an important milestone that we did reach lately. Now I am extremely grateful for everyone's support and help so far. Everyone here has been awesome, lots of likes, lots of views, lots of comments. I really enjoy it, and again, just thank you so much for all of the support so far as we inch our way towards our first big milestone of 10,000 subscribers. Now, if you're looking to follow me elsewhere, feel free to follow me on Twitter at _Saribro, where I post daily about video games news, different ones that are coming out, and of course, the random occasional funny meme. With this all being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.